Okay, so I'm here at the township meeting. This is to resolve the issue I had posted about with my farm structure building. Check out that sweet shirt from North Mountain Pastures. So I'm here to present my case, hopefully be approved, and hopefully stay calm and not lose my fucking shit on everybody. Should be entertaining. So my name is Dane Miller. I'm subject to the notice of violation from July of 2017 due to a previously permitted farm building placed at 157 Grenance Church Road in February of 2014. I've lived in Onalani Township for 29 years. My parents moved our family to 198 Slater Road in 1988. Since '88, the only time I've spent away from this township was during my collegiate years at Penn State University. Then during 2008, I trained for the U.S. Olympic trials and lived in an elite training group in British Columbia. By 2009, I had moved back to Onalani Township, continued my own training, and set up my business, Garage Strength, back in this township. By 2010, I aided my sister and her husband in moving back to the area and setting up residence in Onalani Township. 2011, my wife and I purchased a home in Leesport outside of Onalani, only to have the goal to move back into the township, which we did by 2013. This township is my home, and I've occupied the boundaries in some way, shape, or form for those 29 years. After purchasing our property at 157 Grenance Church Road, which I would prefer to refer to as Hickory Hill, in 2013, we established a functioning farm. I put definitions that I got from the USDA and from the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, what their definition of a farm is. If you guys can see that in the Exhibit 2 and 3. We met with my accountant to properly establish the correct tax schedule, which is in Exhibit 1, the Schedule F tax schedule. We analyzed our procedures based off of our previous records of farming at another property. We set up our farm and began to make large investments in the property to have the goal of having a sustainable farm that could provide secondary income. My wife and I are both self-employed, and this is something that can go a long way for our finances. In 2014, I applied for a permit for a farm structure, which was granted by this township, as you can see in Exhibit 4. The inspector came to the structure, inspected it as it sat, used the hand drawing I sent him to analyze the plot layout, and still approved the permit of the farm building, and that was February of 2014. By the fall of 2014, we received a phone call that a second inspection was going to take place. Apparently, somebody had been driving past our property and noticed a PVC pipe at the front of our property. They wanted that pipe to be inspected and to find out why it was there. Ironically, that pipe had been there since 1987, 1 year prior to me even moving into the Onalani Township. While that pipe was being inspected, the codes officer requested a second inspection of the farm structure. I politely obliged, he inspected, and all seemed normal. That was until 2015 when the township requested to have drainage systems inspected in homes. Perhaps the township had poorly planned the usage of their sewer system and now wanted to further investigate runoff and drainage, and by doing so, we received another phone call from the inspector to investigate our business. Again, politely obliging, I allowed the inspector into our 880 square foot home to see what type of drainage and runoff we may be causing. During this inspection, he further asked to investigate our farm structure. This is the third time, keeping in mind that I had already legally obtained a permit and he had investigated it 2 times prior. I politely allowed him back into the farm structure to inspect for this third time. All seemed good with our drainage. It all seemed proper with the third impromptu inspection of our farm structure. That was until this past summer, July of 2017. During July of 2017, I was away from my home for 6 weeks. I was in Tokyo, Japan, coaching the United States Olympic weightlifting team at the IWF World Championships. Representing my country and coaching at the world level was something I dreamed about. By making good decisions, working hard, hustling at my gym and on my farm, I was able to save my money and purchase a new training facility which had granted me the ability to train some of the best athletes in the world. This was not by chance, but instead from a long drawn-out coaching and financial plan with which Hickory Hill has played an important role. When I returned home from being overseas, representing our great country, I was informed of this notice of violation. The notice of violation response was already a few days late because of my extenuating circumstances representing the United States. Fortunately, I was able to submit a response to have this handled in September, which has me very grateful. You can see Exhibit 5. The problem here lies within our taxes. If you notice, 2016 was a big year for Hickory Hill. We invested a large amount of money, and we actually had a positive return finally. We were getting our legs under us. We raised a large amount of poultry on pasture and sourced all of our grains locally from some farms here, even within the township. By the time our NOV was issued, I had my finances lined up to invest even more money in Hickory Hill in 2017. My wife and I had recently purchased a $500,000 building where we employ 7 full-time individuals, and we have been struggling with the new costs of maintenance and operations. Fortunately for me, the farm would help subsidize my primary income. Or so I thought. When I received the NOV, I had a hard decision to make. Invest further in the farm or receive legal counsel and do not invest in the farm because there may be a point where the township inhibits my freedom to farm. Because this township operates on a guilty until proven innocent standard, I decided it would be my best interest to only farm laying hens and have our pastures cut for hay by Tom Geiger. This caused a large financial burden on my family and even had a negative impact on my employees and thus the local economy. In September, Mr. Stout of the Supervisory Board and Jason of Craft Code Services were invited to inspect my building. They came out to my property. They spent 45 minutes investigating the building. 38 minutes of this inspection is published on my YouTube channel if you would like to view it. That is 45 more minutes of my time as a small business owner that takes away from my business productivity and thus takes away from my positive impact on our local economy. At the end of our meeting, I was informed that Jason and Mr. Stout deemed it fit to be a farm structure, and indeed it was being used as a farm building, storing all of our perishable feed, many other things. It was weatherproof, mouse-proof. These 2 individuals informed me to submit a rebuttal to the NOV, which I did and can be seen in Exhibit 5, and informed me that I would then hear back from the township. I missed the part of actually presenting to you guys, which I apologize for, but I'm here today and hopefully we can settle this issue. When President Trump ran for office, he had a slogan, "Make America Great Again." Perhaps this slogan was used to make people believe that America would indeed become great again. However, as I sit here today, fighting for my freedom to farm, fighting for my freedom to work hard, for my freedom to make a living, for my freedom to provide for my family, for my freedom to raise my children the way I want to raise them on a farm, for my freedom to make a positive impact on the local economy, I struggle to see how this would make America great again. I did the things I was supposed to do. I worked hard. I paid for my permits. I bought my farm. I bought my building. The township issued me the permits, inspected the permitted building 4 times, only to continue to be hassled by a local regime, you guys sitting up there, that has no interest in protecting the right to farm and protecting the freedom to be a productive American citizen. I certainly hope President Trump's slogan did not mean regulate the local market as much as possible and institute more regulations to control entrepreneurs. I hope this situation can be resolved in a positive light and that my family is able to continue to exercise our freedom to farm and use our farm structure at Hickory Hill. Please don't take my social security number that I didn't white out on those documents. Yeah. Kendall.
Yeah, the other individual with that, but he knew what was going on with the property, and I know I talked to Jason further about it after his inspection, and we agreed that the primary use of the property was a farm.
And I agree that it, like, and we talked about at our meeting there, that, and you definitely proved that it's not a habitable quarters. It's not, you know, it's definitely not what we assumed it was, in looking at it from the road. It definitely is an ag type structure, so, just like I told you when we were there, you know.
So will I be issued another permit, or what, like, how does that happen?
No, the only thing that I would like to do for your file's sake is I would like to modify the terminology on the permit that was issued, because it is not in fact a storage shed. It is in fact an ag structure. You're referring to it as an ag structure now, okay, and I get it, but that's not how it was, you know, that's not how it was permitted. So if I have, you know, permission to modify, you know, how it was referred to in the file, and you guys are okay, and obviously Liz is okay with it actually being a working farm, I told you at the property that day, I have no issue with considering it a farm.
I have no issues with it. I don't think you have any issues with it, if that's what you gotta take, the wording. We need to, you don't need to vote on it.
We don't need a vote on it,
No, it's just a matter of Jason.
As long as you guys are.
Now, is that something that I would have to pay for?
No,
Okay.
no, definitely not, definitely not. That's just for file's sake. Just so it's, you know, it's referenced in there, to modify the, you know, the positioning of that.
And could I get a copy of that?
Definitely, definitely. All right,
Thanks.
okay.
Dane, if you want this back, it has personal information.
Yeah, I would like that back. We got it. We got the permit, baby. I got it for 3 years ago now, but I also got it again. They liked my speech apparently, and they approved me again for the 4th time. And now I'll have a permit and I don't think I'll get hassled again for my farm structure. So I'm pretty excited. Stay tuned. Maybe I'll post a picture up on Instagram at some point, but the deed is done. Peace.